It's Yusuf here. So today we are going to be building this AI jet with some set of automations in n8n to streamline our hiring process. So the way it works is we are going to be using Airtable for the project management pipeline, and this is the only interface you are going to be interacting with. So the way it works is your candidate is going to be filling out this form, the form that you are using to collect their portfolio, their details, and everything that they need to proceed in the application process. So after they fill this form, their data is going to be automatically stored in Airtable. If they are fit to continue in the application process, they are going to be added to this apply table in Airtable. But if they are not fit to complete in the application, they are going to be automatically added to not qualified. And the way it works is you are just going to we are going to consider some basic metrics to begin the application, so like their portfolio, their years of experience and all. So that's for the first stage of the application. So whenever their details is being stored in the applied table, so you basically go into the Airtable to check their status, their details, portfolio and everything, if they are good fit for your role or to continue in the application process or the hiring process. So basically the only thing you need to do is just change their status from applied to shortlisted. So when their status is changed from applied to shortlisted, the candidate is going to automatically get an email inviting them for a call to proceed in the application process or the hiring process. So basically the email is going to contain the link to book a call at their convenience in order to schedule an interview with you and proceed in the process. So in the shortlisted table, basically you are just going to change the status based on the previous interview you had with your candidate. So the way it works is you are going to come to the Airtable to change their status from shortlisted to interviewed. So when their status is changed from shortlisted to interviewed, is automatically going to be added to this interviewed table. And when it is added to this interview table, then you have the chance to confirm if you want to hire them after the call or you want to reject the candidate. So when their data is moved to the interviewed, by the way, as you are changing the status, their record is automatically getting deleted in the previous table. If you go back to the apply table or the shortlisted table in order to keep everything clean. So the final stage is the interview table. So when they are being interviewed and you have their details, and by the way, you can add the comments and basic things from the interview to the Airtable. So after then, you have the opportunity to change their status once again from hired to not fit. So if their status is changed to hired, the candidate is going to get a welcoming email that they've been hired and some onboarding packages and everything that you need to onboard your clients, probably the company SOPs and stuff like that. So but if they are not hired, if they are not fit for the role and you've interviewed them, so basically you're just going to change their status to not fit. So when you change their status to not fit, the candidate is going to be automatically added into the candidate pool. So basically candidate pool, if you are familiar with hiring, candidate pool is some set of data of past candidates that applied for an interview or a job or whatever, and they are not fit for the role, and their data is stored in a particular database to consider them for future purpose or for future roles. So, and if they are not fit and they are being added to this candidate pool, their status is going to be automatically changed to not fit. So when their status is changed to not fit, they are also going to get an email that they are not qualified for the whole application or for the role and everything. So basically that's how the whole system works, and you should stick around because I'm going to be giving you some tips to improve the workflow and even make it more powerful and better. And by the way, there will be a link down in the description to download the whole 4 workflows, because it's basically 4 workflows. So download the whole 4 workflows and the document that contains the prompts and the explanation of the code node that I used, the code inside the workflow, and I broke everything down and tried to explain what each part of the code means and to make you understand better, and everything, the whole prompt, the auto parser, and everything you need to build the workflow and your automation step by step. So we are going to be building 4 different automations. So we only have an agent here and 2 AI agents here. So basically the way the workflow works is we are not going to be using AI agents in each workflow. I mean, the best practice is not to use AI agents where you don't need to, and you should use simple automation where you need to use simple automation. So That's basically how it works, instead of like throwing AI agents around where you don't actually like need an AI agent. So we are going to be building this first. We are going to be building everything inside this workflow. We are going to be building this first, then this, and the last one here. So for the first step of the automation is for the candidates to submit their details, portfolio, their contact and everything. So we are going to be using Typeform instead of the normal n8n form that I've been using in the previous videos. So we are going to be using Typeform so that you can actually see real world use case. So not like we're actually like pushing this to prod, but basically you can download a template and start using it. Alright, so you are going to go to your Typeform, just typeform.com. So I'll be using Typeform for the form submission. And the first thing is to create a new form. So on clicking creating a new form, so we are going to like design the whole process, the whole field that we want the candidate to fill in their form. So we are going to start from scratch. So it's going to show you some pre-programmed field. So let's just cancel this and just like go to the something here. So I'm going to be using the one I created before. So I'm just going to be like copying the same design and using the same design. So let me show you step by step how it works. So we'll click on add content. So for the first one, I chose statements to write about the form, the title of the form, so that's what the candidates will see when they first open the form. So by the way, I'm going to be referring to the document that I mentioned earlier, so you can just like follow this step by step after downloading it. This is the first part, so I'm going to be copying this and pasting it here. I'm pasting it on the form. Not this, yeah, this. So and I'm just going to like fill out everything, and I'll come back and explain to you and going over each field so that you can know what to choose and the right drop down and everything. So I'll actually do that now and come back, then explain to you how I did it step by step. Alright, perfect. So I'm done creating the whole form. So basically I just like use the previous design that I made for the intro of the video to fill everything. So I chose the statement for the first page, for the first part of the form. So I just like basically copy and paste everything. The way you are going to be doing it is, after this you are just going to be adding another one. You are just going to be adding another section to the form. So I add this section, which is the personal information, and if you want to add that, just click on add content. You see contact info here. So when you click on contact info, basically you are just going to have all these fill out in the form already. And for the background, because this is a free plan, because the Typeform I'm using, I'm on a free plan, so I just added the design myself. And the way to add the design is just like go to my teams and import your own photo or your own image that you want to use as the background of the form. So that's basically it. And the other things too. And for this years of experience that has this drop down, so the way it works is I chose multiple choice. So I chose multiple choice for the years of experience. So that's what I chose, multiple choice. And for the portfolio writing, I just choose a normal field here. And for the copywriting skill, I chose multiple choice also. So there are some settings that you need to put in place. The first thing is the multiple choice selection. For this section, for this copywriting section, so the question is, what do you specialize in, like the skills that they actually like have. So a copywriter might be proficient in blog writing, sales pages, ad copy, and email marketing. So they have the chance to choose different that they are experienced with. So they have different they have the option to choose. So I toggle this on so that they can select multiple choice. So if I toggle this off, they can only choose one of the options that is on the form. So that's why I turned this on. And on the years of experience also is basically the same thing, but I turned the multiple selection off because you can't have different years of experience. You can only have like less than or greater than, So that's how about that. So, and other things that I did here, they are just like for the reason why they are excited to join, and if they've worked with any marketing agency before. So for this use case, for this case study that we are doing, this is a marketing agency that is actually hiring a copywriter. So that's what we are trying to build an automation system for a copywriting for a marketing agency that's trying to hire a copywriter. So when you're done with all the form, and you can customize it to your own use. So I'm just going to be using this. So I'm going to be adding the ending, and for the ending you can choose anything that you want. If you want to show your logo, your social media icon and all those things. So for the YouTube video, I just paste this here, thank you for applying, we'll review your application and get back to you within the next 48 hours. Keep an eye on your inbox for the next step. So that's all. So after filling the form, after filling the field, so you are going to click on publish to share. So when you click on publish to share, you have the chance to copy the link to the particular form. So that's what you are going to be able to do. So when you click on that, so you're just going to be copying the link. This is the customized link that we're using. So, and you can basically just go and review your form and check the way it is. So, and by the way, I made some field required. I think I didn't show you that. So let me go back and show you. I actually made some field required, it's a compulsory they fill those field. So this is how you do it. This particular thing that looks like asterisk here. So if you turn it on, the field is going to be automatically required. That is, if they don't fill that particular field, they won't move to another stage. And for the last name, also for the last name, for the phone number, and for their email, these are very important part of the form. So let's go ahead and publish it so we can continue to the next part of the workflow. Alright, since we've actually published it the other time and we just edited it, so we can just copy the link here. So the next thing that we are going to be doing is we are going to be adding this here. So the link that we copied, we can just open a new tab here and just put this here for later case. So anytime your applicants or your candidates, anytime they access this particular anytime they click on the link to fill in their form, this is what they'll be seeing, and they will have access to continue to fill in their details on the form. So that's about that. So the next thing that you want to be doing is you are going to be copying our token in order to use this n8n form in order to use this Typeform in n8n. So the way we are going to be doing it is you are going to click on this your icon here, your image or whatever that you use here, and you are going to go to your settings. So under your settings, you are going to go to personal token, and that's where you are going to copy the token that will be using for your n8n. So let's copy the personal token. I already have one here before, so I'm just going to create a new token, and let's call this hiring for YouTube. So all scopes, full access to read and write exactly. So we generate this token. So we copy this also. So we go back to our n8n and we are going to create a new workflow. So we are going to be naming this workflow hiring for YouTube. Perfect. So the first thing we are going to be doing is we are going to be using the Typeform trigger. So anytime they submit the form, it's going to trigger the automation n8n to proceed for the next stage. So we are going to come here and find the Typeform trigger. Typeform trigger. So for the account, I already have this thing set up. So but this is a new one, and we copied a new token. So the token that we copied the other time, we are just going to paste it here, and we are going to save it. So it will go green and we are good to go. It's as simple as that. So for the file name or file ID, so we are using copywriter rule YouTube, which is the document that we created earlier. So when you copy and paste your thing here, your link here, your token here, is going to automatically show your file or the file ID or the file name that you have here or the form that you've created. So the one we are choosing is copywriter role, YouTube, and so that's what we are choosing. Let me confirm if we've chosen that. Yeah, good. So we are going to save this. So the next thing to do is to go ahead and fill in this particular form with some set of generic data, and also I'll be using my test Gmail like I usually do in the previous videos, so that I'll be able to receive the email and we'll be able to like confirm every steps of what we are building. So I'll go ahead and fill in this form with those details and I'll be right back. And for this field that I was talking about earlier, that you have the chance to select multiple skills. So I'm going to be selecting all the skills because I want to point out something later in the workflow and some modifications, so that I can understand if you face the same issue while building this or any other automation that you are building. So I'm going to be doing that, and I'll continue filling the form with the details. So this is the last part of the form, so I'm going to be clicking on submit. So I'll get this message. So by the way, before I submitted this form, I've already like activated the n8n Typeform trigger and activated the workflow so that I can receive the data, so that I can capture the data that is coming out from the form. So if you head back to our n8n, we already we've gotten an output here. Yeah, so n8n I've already captured the Typeform trigger. I've captured the data and we got an output. So I'm going to be pinning this and I'll be using it for the rest of the workflow. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be saving this, so I can toggle this off, so that so the next thing is to add a code node. And the reason why we're adding a code node is to be able to like is able to get the actual figure of what is coming out from here. So in the form we have 3 to 5 years or less than 1 year and those things. So using a code node will allow us to get an actual numeric value instead of values that can actually like go through the LLMs and all those things like that. And the second reason why we're adding a code node is to turn this array, this particular incoming inputs of these skills, into a string. So because the way it's coming, we can't actually like pass it through the LLM and whatever thing that we are going, and the if node that we are going to be using next, because it's just going to be giving us an error. So to fix that, I added a code node to be able to like troubleshoot the issue. So I'm going to be copying the code on the form. Just download the whole file and follow all along. So I already have the code written on the form on the document. Then I'm going to paste it in the code node. Then I'll be able to use it. So let me add a code node, and so I'll just like, instead of writing everything again, I'll just like paste it, and I already had ChatGPT to like modify some things for me in the code. So I'm going to be going to the code, to the form, to the document, then I'll be pasting it. So this is the code that we're going to be pasting into the code node. So you just copy this. And paste it into the anything. So let's test this step. So we're able to get the actual numeric value of the year, and we're able to get this also. We're able to get the email, marketing, ad copy, sales page, everything as a string instead of an array. So another thing that I want to point out is these status we were able to get are applied. So I had coded it inside the code node in order to be able to get the applied status automatically. So that's why. So when we are passing this to the Airtable, we are going to be having this automatically passed to the Airtable. So that's why I included this in the code. So that's actually one of the reasons why I'm using the code node and the actual code. So after that, we are going to save this and we are going to add the next node. Alright, so the next thing to do is to add an if node. And the essence of the if node is to check for the incoming data. If we actually have some specific criteria that we use to automatically qualify or disqualify the details of the application or of the applicants or whatever incoming data. Now, for this particular workflow, and you can actually like tailor it to your own use case, I'll be using the years of experience, and I'll be watching for the portfolio link if it is included in the application. So why am I doing this is I'm not actually hiring anyone with less than a year of experience, and I'm not trying to like passing this particular data of an incoming applicant that does not include the portfolio link into the whole application system. So that's what I'm watching for. So I'll be adding the if node to check if this exists, if the year is greater than 1 year, and it can be 7 or more, and also if this portfolio samples is included, if the link is included. So that's why I'll be adding an if node. So let's go ahead and add an if node. So inside the if node, I'll be using this output coming from the code node. So I'll be checking for the numeric value for the number if it is greater than or equals to 1. So if it is greater than or equals to 1. So basically what it means is if the year of experience is greater than 1 or equals to, if it is equals to 1 or greater than 1, meaning it can be 2, it can be 3 or more, and or equals to 1. So it means it must not be less than 1. It must not be 0 or 0 point something. It must not be 6 months or anything. So the value has to be like 1 upward. So that's the reason for using this. Alright, so the next option we are going to be adding to this if node is the portfolio writing samples. So we are going to be watching for the portfolio writing sample field if it is not empty, because there is no way we want to like check or verify if the applicant is actually fit for the whole hiring process or the application process to begin with. So we are going to be adding another condition, and we are going to be dragging this schema, this particular portfolio sample, and we are going to be putting it here. And what we are watching for is to check if this string is if it is not empty. So if it is not empty, so if the value is not empty, then it's going to like go through. So we are going to be testing this step and see. So we have one true item and no false item, meaning everything that is coming out is true. So let's go ahead and save this and continue to the next thing. Alright, so this is where we are going to be adding an Airtable node, because I'll be using Airtable for the project management pipeline. So you can use ClickUp, you can use Hotspot, you can use any project management pipeline that you actually use. But I actually tried using another one before, and I find out that it might be a little bit complicated for a tutorial, and not like I'm actually like pushing this to prod or something. So it's just for you to understand how to like build this, and even you can actually like download this and start using it straight away. So but if you want to be more custom about the whole thing and you have your own software, of course by all means you can attach it to it and just like remove the Airtable. So it works the same way, just like few difference. Alright, so I'll be using Airtable. So but before we add an Airtable, we actually need to like create the tables that we need to be storing data, and we need to like fill the field, get the scopes and the base and everything. So let's go ahead and create a new Airtable. So when you come to Airtable, you create a new workspace, and you can use another one that you have. But for the purpose of the tutorial, I'll be creating a new workspace. So we are going to be starting from scratch. I don't like this old red color something. I prefer something cool or dark. Alright, I think the green is okay. Yeah, so we are going to be filling this field with everything that we need to do. But you will need to like pay attention to some of the field, because in the automation there are some fields that are important for the automation to work. So like the last modified field and the status. So they are very important. You need to pay attention to it. So let's go ahead and start creating the field. So I'm just like going to like set everything up and come back to show you and explain to you what you need to be to put in place in order to make the whole process work. So I'm going to be doing that now. And by the way, everything is in this document. Every field that is there like is in this thing. You can just like copy and paste everything. So yeah. So I'll be going back to the Airtable and I'll continue. Alright, so we are going to be naming the title of the table, like the whole base hiring, so that you won't be confused. So I think that's okay. Yeah, so the next thing to do, okay, let me explain the table first before moving to the next thing. Alright, so what do we have here? The first thing we have here is not qualified, meaning people that don't meet the first static qualification that we mentioned earlier, meaning the portfolio link, those without portfolio link, and those with less than a year experience. The second table we have is the apply table. This is where people that are actually like qualified to begin the application process, the hiring process. So this is where their data will be stored. And things that I want to point out is this status. So for this status, I set it to 2, applied and shortlisted. And to set the status, you are just going to like fill in the field. You are going to like give your field name, and you are going to like choose single select. This is what you are going to choose. So when you do that, then you save, and you can actually give it any color that you like. So the color that you want it to show here, like the way it is in what I showed you earlier. So this color. So that's how to like choose the color. Alright, so that's about status. And also we have this last modified. So this last modified is very important because this is what we are going to be using to watch our trigger node. So every time we modified a particular field, so the trigger node is going to like be activated. So we are going to be checking for the date and time. So we are going to be checking for the last modified time. So this is what we are going to be looking, and to be more specific, so that the workflow, the automation won't just be sending email randomly. We need to choose specified field. So this is the particular field that we want to be watching if any changes is being made. So we are choosing the status field. So we are turning this on. So this is the only field that we need to be watching for any modification. And basically the only modification we are watching for is if I should show you here, is just we switching the status from hire to apply, from apply to. So every time we switch the status, the candidate is going to get an email. So that's why. So heading back to the normal thing that we are reading, so we just change that. And what do we have here again? We have the hired. So the hired that we have here, we have the status is just 1. This is meant to be just hired. So the status is just going to change to hired. So yeah, that's all we need for here. And the same thing with the candidates pool also. So I just like duplicated the table after the first one. So I think I need to make some correction. So the status, so yeah, for the candidates pool, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is a table for people that made it to the interview stage but they don't qualify for the actual role. So the way they call it, the reason why they call it candidates pool is because we're going to be like considering them for future roles if there's an open space in the future. So these are the people that you've checked their year of experience, their salary and everything. So they are actually like fit for future role if you have any role that they can actually fill in, because you've put them through interview before. You just like basically like checking on them again for future interview and all that. Alright, so that's that on that. I think we are done. And for the mail status is to check if we've actually sent an email. So this is going to change to sent or not sent. That's when that's how we're going to be sure if the candidates got an email or not. And the table can be modified to your taste, honestly, to your use case. So whether you want to add an assigning, whether you want to add any other thing, literally, you just basically need to like edit the table and fill in the something in the table. So that's how it works. Alright, so that's that. So the next thing is to copy the schema and the table scopes and everything. So in order to do that, you are going to go to your account icon. You are going to go to Builder Hub. If you watch my last video, and you basically know how to set this up, so you can just like skip this step. This is for new viewers who haven't actually like checked my channel before or watched anything on my channel before. So what you are going to be doing is we are going to be going to the choosing the personal tokens. So this is to copy the token that we want to be using for the in the n8n. So we're going to be creating a new token, and the name of the token will be, in order not to get confused, so let's just use the same name for everything, YT. And for the scope, so I need to mention in this, when I was building this entire workflow and automation, I basically added all the scope. And the reason why I added all the scope was because this workflow can be expanded. Let me use that word, expanded, to all other cases and all. So basically, I'm just like selecting everything in case I need a scope in the workflow in the future that I want to like attach, that I want to use in the workflow. So I don't need like to be going back to the workflow to choose another scope in order to proceed, or else I'll be getting error. So I'll just be adding everything. Basically, we only need three: the data record read, the data record write, and the schema based read or write. One of these. If you actually go to your Airtable, you can see. Now let me show you instead of just talking. Airtable. Create a record. Create new credential. So this is it: data record read, data record write, and schema based read. So this is the only thing like the n8n asks us to like choose. So I'm choosing everything actually. Alright, so going back to the Airtable, going back to the n8n. So I'm going to be adding a base, and the base is the what you are creating, is the name of the table, the entire table, which is hiring YouTube. So hiring for YouTube. So I'm going to be creating a token, and I'm going to copy this down. So going back to n8n, I'm going to be like pasting this here, and I'm going to save this. Alright, so you should go green, and yeah, we are good to go. Alright, so for the Airtable, I'm going to be creating a record. So in order not to be confused, because we're actually using multiple Airtable nodes here, so curate. We are going to be creating a record. So create applied. Yeah, I think that's what you're choosing. So create applied. Alright, so for the resource, we are going to be choosing record, and for the operation, we are going to be creating. And from the list, we are going to be choosing hiring YouTube, and from the other list also, it's going to be the same thing actually. So you are actually storing this data into the applied table like I mentioned earlier, because it's the candidates actually fits for the entire automation process, entire hiring process. So I'll be choosing applied. So it's going to like fetch the table, and we are going to be manually putting this stuff inside. So we are going to be choosing the full name here. So for the full name, we are going to be adding this here, and with a space, then the last name also, yeah, for the full names. So Yusuf Audrey for ease of search. Yeah, so for the first name, we're going to be dragging and dropping this, and for the last name, yeah, basically the same thing. And the status is going to be coming from the if node, and the next thing is the phone number. Basically, don't try to like use this phone number for anything. It's just fake. I just like type random things so that you won't be calling anybody. And the email, using my the testing email that I normally use on this channel. And for the year of experience, I'll be copying it from the if node or the code node. So if you copy the experience from this other node, you will be getting error in this other part of the workflow. I can actually like do that and show you, so that I can show you why it will be like that. But if you want to do that, you can just like choose yourself. You don't need to like be wasting time with showing you that we can actually get error and trying to prove sense. So for the copywriting skills, no, we are not going to be choosing it from here. We are going to be choosing it from the if node, because if we choose it from here, it's not going to go through, and that's the essence of the code node, so that we'll be able to like pass everything. But let me show you to make it confirm. If I choose the copywriting skill here, so if you see it's coming as an array, like email, the asterisk, the quotation, and everything, see, and not like an actual text. And we don't want that, and even if we want it, it's not going to go through. So that's why we use the code node to like pass it and give us a normal text, a normal string. Alright, so that's about us. And why join growth hive? So this is the simple sentence, and the expected salary, we choose this. Yeah, that's basically it. So I think we are good to go. So if we test this step now, yeah, good, we got an output. And if we go back to our so we should be able to get the values in the apply table. So if you check the apply table, yes, perfect. So we get the values here and everything is correct. We have the full name, we have the first name, the last name, the status automatically set to applied, and the phone number, the email, the year of experience, and everything, and the last modified. So this is here, so everything is set. Alright, so for the other node that we need to choose, this is if the candidate does not fit for the application process. So we are going to be adding another Airtable node in order to like pass a false data. So let me add another Airtable. Okay, so we are going to be creating a record. So what's the name of the something not qualified? So let's just use not qualified. Alright, perfect. So we are not getting any value here already. So what we just need to do is, since we are actually watching if this is empty, if this is not empty, which is not, so instead of like writing everything and leaving the portfolio sample out and writing 0 year of experience, you can just like change the condition here to give us a false value. Now we are looking for something that is not empty, so we can just change it to empty. So meaning we are going to be watching for something that is empty in order to just to like proceed in the workflow. But this is not how it's going to work, because we are actually going to change this back. I just use this in order to like give us a false value, and I hope you understand what I'm saying, and we will need to like change it back to the original value. So if we test this step, we should be able to get a false value. Exactly, we get a false output, so it is not true. So coming to the false here, so we have access to like, we have chance to like fill everything that is in this place. Alright, so we're going to be choosing create for the operation, and for the resource is record, and the base is the hiring, and also which table is it actually going through, the non qualified table. So it's going to automatically fetch the table, and we're going to like drag and drop the data here. So the same thing like we did for the first one, we're going to be dragging the first name, give it a space, and the last name also. Yeah, so the next thing is the first name here. By the way, you can actually like fast forward the video to move to the next one. So I'm just like doing it one by one in order not to make any mistake. Yeah, and for the status, we don't actually like need the status for the not qualified, so we are not going to be dragging the status. So just delete this. So it's just the part of the table, because I basically duplicated the table. So for the phone number, we are going to be dragging this, and for the email, we are going to be dragging this. The year of experience, remember we are going to be taking it from the if node, and the copywriting skills, same thing here. And why join growth hive, the expected salary, and the last modified, we don't need it. Yeah, so I wanted to show you something about this area of thing that I'm explaining. So let me just delete this and take it from that, and I'll show you why it won't go through. So if I try to test this, you see I'm getting an error, and the reason why I'm getting an error is because of the way I passed the value of the copywriting skill. So that's why I used the code node earlier, and I think this solidifies my point. So if I delete this and take it from the if node or the code node, and I try to text the step again, yeah, you see the node ran successfully, so we're able to get an output. So if you go into our n8n into our Airtable, and we check the not qualified, we should be able to get a data. So we're able to get a data in our Airtable not qualified table. So that's all for the first workflow, and yeah, that's all for the first part of the workflow. So the second part of the workflow and what you are going to be doing next, so I think let's just move this up here. So the second part of the workflow and what you are going to be doing next is we are going to be watching for this side. Alright, so the way this works is whenever the hiring manager or whoever that is in charge of the HR, so whenever they come to this project management side to check for the candidates, and they go through their details, they go through everything. So and basically they can just expand to cross-check their details and everything inside the Airtable. So, and if you're actually the one that is using this system, this is the same way you're going to be using it. So if you actually cross-check it and you check the portfolio, the portfolio is not here. I didn't add the portfolio into the workflow. That's the mistake on my side. So you see, creating an automation, you run into errors, and you have to redo some things and try to do it again. You don't get everything in the first step. So I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to come back and just add the portfolio field in order to continue to pass the data. So I'm going to do that right now and go back to here. So we have our portfolio here, so everything is set. And another thing I want to point out is on the last modified part. So it should be earliest to latest, not latest to earliest. So that's what we are going to be doing with this interview 2. Is going to be earliest to latest. So that's how we want to sort it. Yeah, earliest to latest. So automatically sort record. Alright, so that's about that. And yeah, and for this other non-qualified, so we really don't need the portfolio because they are not the one going into the candidate pool, meaning we don't really we are not really going to do much with them. Alright, so that's about that. And so we are going to be moving to the next phase of the whole workflow. So after this first one, I just hope this video is not as long as I thought. So yeah, let's continue. Alright, so let's move this up here. Yeah, for the second part of the workflow, this is where the automation begins. So for the second part of the workflow, we are going to be moving to this applied table. And what are we going to be doing here? So in this applied table, we are going to be watching for this particular table if the status of the applicant has been changed to shortlisted. And how are we going to do this? So basically, the HR or anyone that is doing the hiring will go into this place and check the details of the candidate, the details of the applicants, and if the applicant and if the person, the HR or anyone sees that this particular applicant actually fits for the next phase, which is the interview. And by the way, the hiring process is different from each country, each companies and agency or whatever. So for this case, after being shortlisted, it means they are going to be scheduled for an interview. So when their status is changed to shortlisted, the candidate is going to be getting an email automatically inviting them for an interview. So the candidate is going to be able to like choose the candidate to be able to choose a convenient time for them to apply for the interview. So that's what you are going to be doing here. So to set up that, you are going to be adding another trigger. So you are going to be adding a trigger. So Airtable trigger, on new event. So you want to pay attention to this. So you can set this to anything you want. You can set it to custom, meaning if it is every seconds or every minute, but basically it's going to like take up to a minute before you review the process or review the information, the data about the applicant. So you are just going to be leaving it to every minute. And by the way, I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I'll give you tips on how to improve it. So there are some part of the workflow that can be automated again, probably like screening through the application process, or like using AI to like manually like understand what is in the portfolio and everything. All those things can be done, but I'm just like adding more of human touch in this automation to avoid bad AI. So here we are going to be checking the base URL. So the base URL is actually the URL of our table, which is this thing that is here. Just this. This is our base URL. So we're going to be copying this and pasting this into the workflow, into the n8n. So the base ID rather. So this is the base ID. And for the table ID, so the way to check our table ID is we are going to come here to this help, and we are going to come to API documentation. So under this API documentation, you are going to see all the table that you created in your Airtable. So the non-qualified table, the applied table, the shortlisted table, and everything. So what you are actually using here is the applied table. So that's what we are watching the record for. So we are going to be using this applied table. So the ID you are going to be copying is this applied table ID, this particular one that is here. So this is what we are going to be copying. And after copying this, I just want to make sure I copy this. After copying this, we come back to the node and we paste it here. We are good to go. Alright, and the last thing is the table to watch for, the trigger field. So this is the reason why we added this last modified field here, this particular one, because every time we make changes in this flow, every time we make any changes in this flow, this place is going to be changing. The time, the dates, whatever is going to be changing in sync with the actual time or date that we make any changes on the record. Alright, so we are going to be copying this. In order not to make mistake, I actually try to like copy. I know I can actually like type last modified myself, but in order not to make any mistake, because any mistake or space or case, lowercase or uppercase issue in this particular name, it won't actually go through. So that's why I'm doing that. As you can see, the time changes again because I just like modified this. So I'm just going to like be pasting that in the n8n. So this is the field we are going to be watching for, and yeah, that's that. So that's that about this. So what we are going to be doing now is we are going to be triggering this Airtable. So the way to do that is to change the status of the applicant from applied to interviewed to shortlisted, meaning they've been shortlisted for the next process. So the way I'm going to do it is just like change the process to shortlisted, and if you watch our time, it has changed here. So if you click on this trigger, if it takes this workflow, so we got an output, and the output we got is the status. The status have been changed to shortlisted. So that's how it works. So if we go back to our Airtable, we've changed the outputs to shortlisted. So meaning we are getting the record and everything on the record. By the way, if you also change the names, the phone number, the email, the comments, it's going to trigger the workflow. But in order to avoid those errors, I set only this the only thing that we are watching for, which is the status. So in order to like affect any other thing in the workflow. So we got the output shortlisted. This is the only thing we are actually watching for, and of course every other thing. So since this is correct, I'm just going to pin this here to continue the workflow. Alright, so the next part of the workflow is for the candidate to get an email that they've been shortlisted for the interview. So we are going to add an AI agent that is going to write the email. So the way it is, you can use an AI agent and you can use basic LLM. And the reason why I'll be using an AI agent is if you actually want to attach a knowledge base, and of course you can attach a knowledge base to the other ones too, but AI agent is more effective. Alright, so I'm going to be leaving this as tools agent, and for the prompts I'm going to be defining below. So the way it is I'm going to be coming back to this particular document that I have here where I have all the prompts. So this is shortlisted agents. So you're just going to copy this. I already have everything mapped out here. And by the way, the workflow will also be available. So this is just for you, like following it step by step. So I'm going to be copying this and pasting this into this side. Expression, expand this, then. Alright, perfect. Alright, so for the fields, let me just delete this to show you what we are mapping and moving here. And even though it's go green, basically I just need to. Yeah, so for the candidate's name, I'll be using the candidate's first name and the actual link to the to schedule the interview. So initially when I was testing this workflow, I put the link on my calendar, but I've removed it and edited it, and I actually do that in the workflow. If you are going to be downloading this workflow or the other workflow that I made earlier, so I think my link is still there. Alright, so let's go over the prompt. So basically the way I structured the prompt and the essence of the prompt is to tell the AI agent to write a personalized email and output it in HTML format for the candidate to receive. Alright, so the way it works is you are an AI assistant for a recruitment team. Your task is to generate a professional yet friendly email to inform a candidate that have been shortlisted for the next stage of their hiring process. The email should congratulate the candidates on being shortlisted, provide a link to schedule a call for the interview, maintain a warm, encouraging tone while staying professional, and keep email concise and include a placeholder for candidate's name and booking link. So here and here. And it should return the outputs as structured using objects for use in n8n Gmail node, and ensure the output is a valid JSON with no extra formatting, markdown or special characters. So the next thing to do in the example that we are giving the LLM is to put the name here. So I think I should return my link back here, so to show you how it works, because I wasn't able to show you at the beginning of the video. So let me just go ahead and copy my calendar link and input it here, then show you how it works. Alright, so I've included the actual link in this agent so that we can you can see how it works. Alright, so the next thing is to continue to copy the prompts, and I think I'm done with the prompts. The work of the agent is just one, to write an email, so nothing much. Alright, so the next thing is just the output parser to give it, in order to give us back the name and the email title and the email body separate. So I'm going to click on required output parser, and alright, let's first add a LLM, a chat model. So I'll be using I'll be using Gemini. So in the previous video I've already walked you through how to create a free account for Google Gemini, and we are going to be selecting the 2.0 Flash to write the email for us. So if you don't know how to set it up, just go to Google AI Studio. Just search for Google AI Studio on Google. So, and you go to, it's very straightforward. Once you land on the page, you are going to see a button that tells you to create and copy your API key. It's as simple and straightforward as that. So I won't be going into that again. If you want to see how that works, you can check my previous video, my last video. I use Gemini throughout. Alright, so the next thing is to add an output parser. So we are going to be adding a structured output parser to be able to give us the name, the email the way we want it. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, so the next thing is to add a Gmail node that will send the email to the candidate or the applicant. So we're adding a Gmail node, and for the action we are going to be send a message. We are going to be sending a message. So no output here. So let's just test this step and see what we get. Alright, perfect. We have the email subject and the email body separately. Alright, so for the Gmail node, let's configure this to make it work. And to set up the account, I already have my own account set up. Just like configure your Google Auth something. And for the message, for the resource message, I'll be choosing message. For the operation, I'll be sending, and which is the email I want to send to, this. And the subject, I'm going to be grabbing the subject from here, and for the email type, I'm going to be leaving it as HTML because that's basically what is coming out from here is in HTML format. So, and I'm going to be appending the n8n attribution here. So in order not to have n8n signature on our email that is going to the candidate. So if I test this step, and I'll go ahead and pull up my mail. So we have sent here. So if I check my mail, and let me refresh this. Yeah, perfect. So we got an email. I actually dragged the full name. Well, I wanted to drag the first name, but anyhow, I think you understand everything. I, Yusuf Audrey. We are true to inform you that you've been shortlisted for the next stage of our recruitment process. To proceed, please schedule your interview at time that works best for you. So if I click on this, which is book your interview slot, if I click on this, so it's going to take you to the link that you actually put. So in this case, it takes me to my own consultation link. If you want to like book consultation call, so this is like the second thing of, because I actually have another booking link for normal custom projects. So that's about that. So I think you see how it works. So the candidates will just like basically choose the time that works best for them and schedule the call. I think that's all. Yeah, so let's leave this. Yeah, so after doing this, the next thing we are going to be doing is we are going to be creating a record. Yeah, we are going to be creating a record, meaning after we've confirmed that an email has been sent to the candidate, we are going to be creating a record. So let me check if I'm recording. It's very important. Yeah, I'm recording. That's cool. Alright, so the next thing we are going to be doing is we are going to be creating a record, and the essence of the record is to confirm the shortlisted candidates. So what's this? So we are going to be creating a record for the shortlisted candidates here. Yeah, so after we've switched to shortlisted, so I mentioned that we should be able to automatically have the record of the candidate whose name have been shortlisted appeared in the shortlisted table with the actual status. Alright, so the way to do that is we are going to be adding another Airtable node to create a record. So this time we are going to be creating a record. So Airtable, and we're going to be creating a record. So of course, create the resource record and the base, the hiring tools. And this is why I actually like create a new workspace for the whole thing, so that it will be easier for us to like just choose. And for the table, shortlisted. Now come on, no, shortlisted. This is the table, so it's going to like map each column manually. So now we need to map each details like we've been doing, but we are going to be checking for this the data that is coming from the Airtable of trigger. So for the full name, let's just add this directly. So for the first name, Yusuf, and the last name, where is the last name? Full name, okay, last name is here. And for the status, so for the status we have shortlisted, yeah. And for the phone number, you have this fake phone number that you shouldn't call, and the email, my YouTube email to test stuff, yeah. And for the years of experience, we are choosing this. So since this is already in numeric value, so we don't need to pass it through anything again, so we are good to go. Yeah, I already had the test email. So the copywriting skills, everything is okay. And why join Growth Hive, our fake marketing agency. And the expected salary, we're adding this here, and the actual portfolio link. And there's one thing I want to mention and point out here. There is an option to link if you are setting up stores. Let me try to like open something just for you to check. So there is an option to like link to another record. So if you actually have a comment section whereby the HR is actually like adding comments to each field, so you can link the comment back to each record on the other table. So that's advantage of that. So that was just like a tip to you for you to understand, and you can actually like learn more on that on using Airtable. I think we are good to go. So let's go ahead and test this step. Yeah, perfect. We got an output. So if you go back to our Airtable shortlisted table, let me try refreshing this. We should be able to get a new record created if everything is correct. Let's check. Airtable create shortlisted. Alright, so of course, yeah. So automatically we have the data here. So whenever the HR change the details of the applicant to shortlisted, it's going to appear in this table. A new record is going to appear. So the next thing to do is to delete the old record in order not to make everything messy. You can actually leave it if you want to leave it since the status is already on shortlisted. But I actually go a step further in deleting the old record, so to make everything clean. So let me rename this, so in order to not to get confused. So the create shortlist. Alright, so that's cool. So we are going to be adding another Airtable node in order not to delete the previous data. Airtable. So we are going to be deleting a record. Yeah, good. So operation, we are going to be deleting, and the base, our normal base, and the table we are going to be deleting from. We are going to be deleting from the applied table. Yeah, that's the table we are going to be deleting from, because that's the table that we got the data from. So we want to delete the table. So for the record ID, we are going to be taking this particular record ID that is coming out from our Airtable trigger. So this is the record ID of what we are deleting. So before I test this step, if I go back to the workflow here, if I go back to the Airtable here, under the apply, you see we still have this record. So if I go ahead and test this step, so the value came as true, which means we deleted it, which is the ID. And if I go back to the table, you see the table is empty. The data has been automatically deleted. This will keep the project pipeline clean. Alright, so project management pipeline, so to say. So yeah, we are done with the second step. Moving to the third stage of the workflow. So let's save this. Yeah, so I think I need to grab water. I've been talking. I'll be back. Alright, so we are done with this particular workflow. So the next thing is to go to the third one. So for the third one is actually a simple automation. So what we are doing in the third one is just here. What is here and here? This is the only thing we are doing in the third workflow. So what we are actually doing is, so after the meeting has been scheduled with the candidates and the interview has been done with the candidates, so we are going to change the status from shortlisted to interview. So what we want to do is, when we change it to interview, we want it to automatically create a new record here in the interview table. So that's what we are going to be doing. So what we want to do now is to just watch for any changes made to the status. So we are going to be watching for this last notified. We are going to be checking this last notified to watch for the status change. So that's what we are going to be doing. So basically, we just need to like add another trigger, Airtable. So we just add an Airtable trigger. So what are we doing? We are going to be using ID. So every minute, yeah, of course. So we are going to be leaving the time, so every minute. So the base ID is the same thing that we copied earlier. So this is the base ID here. This APPOYLY till the last slash. Yeah, this is what we're copying. This is the base ID. So you go back here, you paste the base ID. And for the table ID, like I showed you earlier, I think I showed you how to like go to the side. We click on this help API documentation, then you bring it to this table. So the table ID that we are triggering now is the shortlisted table. So the shortlisted table is the table ID we are going to be copying. So let's copy this. So let's confirm is the one. Yeah, the shortlisted table. Alright, so I'll be pasting the ID and the trigger field the same thing, last modified. By the way, I won't be typing it again. I don't want any issue of lowercase, uppercase, or space bar issue. So what I'm just going to be doing is I'm just going to be copying the exact thing. Copy, then yeah, I'm going to be copying this, coming back to anything. Yeah, paste this here. So before testing this, I'm going to run this. I'm going to change the status to interviewed. So from here, I'm going to be changing it to interviewed. So I didn't actually check the time that was modified. So yeah, I think it should have been modified. This is 2 a.m. This is 2 a.m. So 2 on 0 a.m. So I think it has been modified. Alright, so it has go through, so to say. No, I need to like test the workflow. Yeah. Alright, so let me test the workflow. So basically the workflow is just like getting the last modification inside the Airtable. So if I click on this and check, we get our status to be interviewed, meaning we've changed the status to, I don't know why this bad guy keep going back. So we've changed the status to interviewed, and that's that. So let's just pin this. So the next thing is to create a new record. So since we've changed the status to interviewed, we need to like create a new record in this interviewed table. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to be adding another Airtable. So we are going to be creating a record. So I'm going to like be giving this a name. Create a what? Create a interview. So that is what we are doing. Create interview, because the Airtable nodes are many, so we don't want to make any mistake. Create in order to identify each Airtable node in case we are trying to like troubleshooting anything. So the base we are going to be using the hiring, and from the list interview. So we map out the stuff the way we usually do. So let me just pause the video and just like map everything, then I'll continue in order not to make the video too long. Alright, I'm done filling in the fields. So there's something I want to point out, which is this mail status. And this mail status is the one that is coming from this AI agent, from this Gmail node, which is the status of the mail that we've sent the mail when we ran in the other time. So if I test this workflow again, I hope it won't like disturb anything. Basically, let me just tell you what it's about. When we ran this the other time, we got an output that the email has been sent, which is just sent, the status sent. So I actually pass the status into the other workflow, into the other node as a value. So in order to know that we've actually sent a message, so anytime we change the status of the candidates in the Airtable, we are going to get a mail status that the mail has been sent. So I just don't bother like dragging and dropping that, because the whole video will get long, but it's included in the workflow that I'm going to download. So I think that's clear. So that's the mail status. So since it's not there, I'm just going to be leaving the field empty inside this Airtable node. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So let's go ahead and test this step. We've created a new record. So if you go back to our interview, we've created a new record, and the status is automatically changed to interview. So the only thing we are not getting is the mail status. And I think that's understandable. Alright, so the next thing is to delete the old record that we had before. So we're going to be deleting the particular record from the shortlisted table. Alright, so this shortlisted table, we're going to be deleting this record since they've already been moved to interview. We're going to be deleting them from the shortlisted table in order not to get everything, make everything look messy. So we're going to be deleting a record. Alright, the resource operation, the resource record, the operation delete. The base is the normal base we've been choosing, and the table we are deleting from is the shortlisted table, and the record ID is this, the one coming from the trigger node. So if I test this step, so we got a true value, and if I go back to this space, that's deleted. So the only place we have value now is the interviewed and the not qualified, which is the one that doesn't even like enter the whole automation process. So you have the value here in the Airtable interviewed. Alright, so the next thing to do is to continue the hiring process for this particular marketing agency. Alright, so we are going to be building the last workflow. So this is the third one, and this is the first, second, third. So we are going to be building the last workflow. So for the last workflow, basically what that is going to be doing after this first, second, and third is to send email to the candidates or the applicants after they've been interviewed, that they've been hired or rejected. You get that right. that they've been hired or rejected. So if they've been hired, they are going to get an email to welcome them, congratulate them, and send some onboarding packages and everything based on whatever you do in whatever your SOP is and what you want your client to know. But if they are being rejected after the interview and they are not fit, of course they are going to get an email also that is going to tell them that they are sorry, they are not fit, this and that, and we already have them in our listing to consider for future role. And also, if you want to ask for their opinion, which is part of the best practice. Hope I'm recording. Yeah, I'm recording. So if you want to ask for their opinion for future role, that should you add them to your candidate pool to consider them for future role and everything. So that's about that. Alright, so basically how that works is we are going to be doing the hired first. Yeah, so that's what we are going to be doing. So we are going to be changing this status to hired. Yeah, then we are going to set up a trigger to watch for this hired and continue. So let me do that now. Yeah, back into our workflow. So we are going to be setting up a trigger node, an Airtable trigger node. Yeah, Airtable trigger on an Airtable events. So we're going to set this up, the ID, yeah, both by ID. So we're going to be copying our ID again. Going back to n8n and our table ID. So the table ID that we are going to be triggering is the interview table. So we go to the documentation. So right now we are going to be choosing the interview table. So you have options to choose it here. So choosing the interview table, we are going to be copying the table ID. This is what I'm going to be copying. Copy it, then come back here. Now, good. And for the trigger field again. So, and by the way, remember this is important because if you're actually manually inputting all these things and they are not the same thing, and the status you are watching for is not the same thing, you might make a mistake. So in order not to make any mistake, just copy the exact word how it's written. So yeah, so no, interviewed. Yeah, interviewed. We are going to be watching for this. And hope is the one I copied. Yeah, interviewed. So it's the interviewed you are watching for. So, and I think it's the same thing. It's the same last modified thing. So I'm going to come back here and paste last modified. So if I fetch the test event, so we can see our status has been changed to hired. So that's the latest record. Where's my trigger? Alright, yeah, is here. So come here. So let's spin this value. Alright, so the next thing to do is to add an if node. So, and there's something I want to point out again. You notice how I didn't actually create a new record or delete a new record after I made a trigger and I added it to the end of the flow, because I want to make sure an email has been sent to the prospect, to the candidate or to the applicant or whatever, before it actually go ahead and create a new record or delete a new record. You want to make sure everything is in place. You want to follow the normal step-by-step process of what you actually do in real life, and that's what automation is all about. Doing normal thing you do in real life, or having AI to do it for you. Alright, so that's about that. Alright, so I'm going to be choosing the if node here. So the reason for choosing if node is to change the values, to route the values. If the candidate is hired or they are rejected, so the candidate is going to get an email that I explained earlier, and if they were hired, and the same thing for the rejected candidate also. So the reason why we are using the if node is to send a particular message to the hired candidates and another message to the rejected candidates. So we don't want to be sending the same email to both of them. So let's add an if node. Adding an if node. So what are we checking for in this value? And you can actually pause the video if you're actually like learning this for learning purposes and not like reading for a client. So you pause the video and you play it back. So we are watching for the status of the candidate. That's what we are watching for. Alright, so we are watching for this status. If this status is equal to hired, the value, this value, if it's equal to hired, so that's what we are watching for. So if the status is equal to hired, you should get a true value. But if the status is not equals to, it does not equals to hired, meaning rejected, not fit, or whatever, we are going to get a false value. So let's test the step. Yeah, is equal to hired, meaning we get a true value. Yeah, so the next thing is to add an AI agent or basic LLM chain. So for the hired client that you want to like send a message to, onboarding message to, that might contain your documents, everything and all. So that's my main. You want to add a knowledge base, a vector knowledge base, a database to the AI agent for you to just like pack all your SOPs, all your information, your email type, the way you onboard your client and everything inside the AI agent. But for this tutorial video, I'll just be like, I won't be adding any knowledge base, just basic AI agents doing that for me. But what you'll be doing is to be selecting an AI agent. And if you want to add to, which is the vector base that I'm talking about, you just add vector database and choose the one that you want to use or anything, probably Superbase, Pinecone or whatever. And for future videos and my next 3 videos or so, I'll be walking you through how to actually build proper RAG agents, because I've been seeing different things on YouTube and they look kind of funny. So I'll teach you how to build proper agents, proper RAG agents, or agentic RAG, so to say. Alright, so for this AI agent, I'm going to be using the document I've been using, which I've put all the prompts inside. So if you come back to the document, you see hired agents. So you basically just copy these prompts. Just copy this and paste it into the AI agent. Oh, my voice. I don't know how long this video will be. Yeah, choose agents, and we are going to be defining below expression, of course. Expand the ask all. So yeah, so this, the candidate's name is already there and everything is there because the prompt is correct. So everything is there already. So let's just go through the prompts. I don't need to be deleting this again. So you are an AI assistant for a recruitment team. Your task is to generate a professional yet warm email to congratulate a candidate on being hired. The email should express excitement about welcoming the candidate to the team, provide a link to access onboarding documents and important information for their first day, include a clear call to action for the candidate to review the documents and complete any necessary steps, maintain a friendly and professional tone, return the output as a structured JSON object with email subject and email body field. Alright, so there's something I want to point out. If you're actually using an OpenAI node, so you don't need to be adding the output parser. This prompt is enough for it to like know that it's meant to like output the email subject and email body separately. But as I'm using a normal node, and the reason why I'm doing this with my videos, and I might change my style in the future video, is to be able to download the workflow and start using this right away without like spending any cost. Just like set up your n8n, and setting up your n8n is just like go to n8n.io, then sign up for free accounts. You can use it for 14 days before you start paying, and you can host it locally. So that's the essence of doing all this, and I might change my approach in the future videos, but this is what I'm doing at the moment. Alright, so that's about that, and the candidate's name and the message is there already. So this is an example of what you want to get back from the AI agent. Yeah, so require specific output format because we are putting the JSON and the email subject and the email body separately. Alright, so I'm going to be copying the output parser like I normally do in order to get the email subject and email body separately. But before then, I'm adding my chat model. So I'm going to be using Google Chat model, Gemini. So 2.0. 2.0. Yeah, Gemini 2.0 Flash. Yeah, so and for the output parser, structured output parser, then I'm going to be pasting this. No. Yeah, so that's that. So the next thing is to connect a Gmail node. But best practice, you need to be testing each step of what you are doing to know you are actually like doing the right thing. So for the option, I'm not actually like adding a system message, or you can add a system message to train the AI agent properly. So I'm going to be testing this step and seeing the output that we get. So we get a structured output and the mail in HTML format. So because it includes a link to access the document and everything, so I just like input a generic link there to be able to open a funny text. Not funny, but a meaningless one. So we're adding a Gmail node, to send a message. So we're going to be grabbing the values here. From the if node, of course. So the email and the email subject and email body, and we'll be appending n8n attribution. So in order not to have anything finished on our email, so if I test this step now, we got sent. So I will be pulling up my test Gmail, so to check. So if I refresh this, so we get a welcoming email. So welcome aboard, your next steps at our company. So I, Yusuf, we are trying to inform you that you've been selected for the role. I didn't actually specify any role. So welcome to the team. To get started, please review the onboarding documents and complete the necessary steps before your first day. Okay, let me check if I'm recording. Alright, good. So access your onboarding documents here and we're set to. Alright, so I explained previously in the last video that the reason why we are using HTML format is to be able to get this custom link instead of actually having the links like HTTP 025, like all those things inside your actual email, and actually like going copying and all those stress. So to keep everything formal, clean and professional, so everything is there. So when they click the link, they'll be able to access the document. So this is just like a generic link, example domain that I just like put into the link. So but for your use case, they're going to be accessing your company documents, whatever it is, probably in a Google Doc or anywhere that you are hosting it or it is. So that's about us. So after doing that, I'll be creating a record in the hired table. Since the candidate is hired already, since they've been interviewed and they've been hired, so I'll be creating a record in this hired table and I'll be deleting it in this interviewed table. So to do that, let's go ahead and create a new record. Airtable. create a new record, and basically the normal process. You are going to be choosing RN again, and from the table we are creating a record into is the hired table. So this is going to like fetch the data and all. So here, since we are not opportune to, we are actually opportune to actually like skip it. So add the mail status. So to show you what it looks like, it's just the label. No, not you. So it's just the label of the email. To get the status of the email, that an email has been sent to our new hired candidate. Newly hired candidate. So I'm going to be filling out the rest of the form the way we do, and I will come back to the video. Yeah, I'm done filling the table. By the way, it's there was when it was fetching the tables, the fields. So the last modified table was part of it, so of course it has to be part of it. So but we are going to be deleting it from the field. So because that will actually automatically like be on the table. So if I go back to our Airtable, there is nothing in the hired, and if I test this step, we should get the value there if everything is working well and fine. So we got an output, and if we go back to our Airtable, if we refresh this, so we should be able to get a new record created in the output in the Airtable hired table. So yeah, and the status automatically changed to hired, so perfectly working fine. And let's check the status, the email status. So this is the email status. So the email was sent. So, and the reason why that was possible is because we had the LLM before the table. So meaning we're able to know that the email has been sent, and not like after we created the record, which is not the proper way to do it. So the next thing to do is to clear the data that is in the previous one interviewed. Yeah, that's the next thing to do. Yeah, so to do that, we just like add another node to clear the data. So Airtable node, delete a record, and delete. I'm going to be choosing this, and from the list we are going to be deleting from interviewed. The ID that we are copying, always make sure that you are copying the ID from the trigger. If you are deleting, don't delete this ID, please. Don't delete this ID. It means you are deleting the document that the record you just created. So you are going to be deleting the ID from the trigger, the original ID that is coming in. So that's what we are going to be deleting. So before we run it, we check the interview is still there, and if we go back and test the step, yeah, so we got a true value, meaning the record has been deleted. So if we go back, so interviewed, you see it has been deleted. So we only have hired. So we only have hired here. Now, so for the candidate pool, so the way to do it is we are going to send another message, add another LLM to the for the candidates, and send them an email or send them an email. Also create a record and delete a record. Basically same thing, but I won't be doing all that. The only thing I'll be doing is just like this particular node. Since I've already done that, I've already done that in the previous steps, so you know how to like go about that. So I'll be adding a basic LLM node to write the email for the rejected candidates, and the email and the Gmail, then create a record. So I'll be deleting record, so you can just like add that on your own. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. So we add an LLM node. Alright, so before we do that, the output that is coming from this is a true data. So we just do the same thing that we did the other time. So if it is equal to hired, we should get a true value. If it is not equal to hired, so the string not equal to, if it is not equal to hired, so if we test this step, so we get a false branch, because what, this is actually equal to hired, but we actually set it that if it is not equal to hired, so that's it. So, but by the way, you should leave it the way it was before, after configuring the other node, after configuring the other parts. The reason why I'm doing that is because I don't want to like run the whole process and the whole thing again. So I think that's understandable. So we're able to get the first outputs to use for the other node. So I'm going to go to advanced AI and I'll be using basic LLM chain. So define below and expression. So I'll be expanding this, and I'm going to just come back and copy this message for the non-fit I had agent and not fit or rejected. So just this. I'm going to be copying this up and recording. So I'll just paste this here and we are good to go. So if you just go, you can actually like pause the video and go through the whole thing. So it's just like writing mail for the person. So that's about that, and turn this on. So you add a model, a language model. I'm using Gemini once again. So 0 flash, of course. So for the output parser, coming back to this and just copy this output parser. And by the way, you can use the same output parser for everything since they are basically in the same form. So just to make you understand and break everything down for you. So if I run this and test this step, we got an output. So this output is the one we are passing to a Gmail node. And by the way, I think I need to mention this. This is not in this particular email is not in HTML form. If you check the format, it's not in HTML form because we are not actually like including any link in the we are not including any link in the particular message that we are sending to the rejected candidate. Alright, so we are going to be adding the Gmail node. So we are going to be adding the Gmail node and we are going to be sending a message. So we are going to be sending a message to the person, the email subject, and the email type. We are not going to be sending HTML. We are sending a text email. So that's what we are doing. And for the message, we are grabbing the email body, and we are going to be appending n8n attribution. Very important. So after doing that, we are going to test this step to see if that goes through. An email was sent. So let me pull up my test email real quick and see. Okay, I think that automatically came through. So the email, dear Yusuf, thank you for taking the time to interview with us. We truly appreciate your interest in the role and effort you put into the process. After careful consideration, we have decided to, so just like sympathizing and stuff like that. So just like rejected, email of rejection, blah blah blah, whatever you want to call it. Alright, so we are going to be creating a record in this particular table. That means when we change it from hired to not fit, where is it? Oh, I already deleted this, so you know, understand why this is not there and why we don't use this. So you just like add coded this something here. So I'm just going to create a new table here. Create a new record. I'm going to be creating a new record, a table. So I'm going to be creating the record in the candidate pool, so that we can consider them in case we want to consider them for future roles or application and stuff like that. So I'm just going to fill all this and I'm going to come back. So I want to point out something real quick to carry you along. So you know what we are actually using now, the status we are the record we are trying to create is for the not fit, which is going to the candidate pool. And if you check the table, the status is not fit. So instead of hired, and the original value that is coming from here is hired, and you know we only altered what is inside this if node. So let's just edit this to be able to like use it. So for the hired status, I'm just going to like edit it to not fit, then save this, and we change the logic, the condition back to if this is equal to hired. So equal to hired. So that's what we're going to be doing. So let's run the workflow again. So you should be able to get our value back inside this side and create a record in a table. So alright, so that's about that. And if you go back here, I think we already have a data here. So let's delete this record, delete candidates, of course. So let's start the step again and see what output we are going to get. Perfect, we have the full data here. So if you go back to the Airtable, so we have everything mapped out here. We have everything here. So and you can actually add the last node, which is to delete it, and I'm not going to be adding that. So we've come to the end of the whole workflow and the whole building of the whole thing. So thank you for watching. If you actually like watch to the end, because this is a long video, and if you are like me that like everything being broken down step by step, you will probably watch it finish, because that's the kind of person I am. I like details. So that's about that. And the school the work community, rather not school community, the work community, I'll be hosting weekly live calls. So if you haven't joined, you should join now. So once we reach 50 active members, I'll be hosting weekly live calls in the community. So you get to like ask me questions, and I'll get to like build this AI agent and automations that you want step by step and all. And by the way, if you want me to like build and implement custom AI solution for you, and you don't want to be like doing the whole thing yourself, check the link below to book a call with me and we'll chat. So, and also I made a video on customer support, and I made a video on how to generate a proposal. So I made those two videos. So if you are interested, you can actually like check the last video that I made, which is about creating proposal, where you have chance to like learn more about n8n and to use some nodes and some custom things. It's actually pretty cool and nice. So very, very different from this workflow. So I'll see you there. Bye.